What happens when the NBA's fiercest defender locks eyes with the greatest to ever play the game? When the league's most unstoppable dunker dares to challenge the throne of a legend already defined by greatness?
6'10", out of Trinity Valley Community College, Shawn Kemp.
In 1996, Gary Payton and Shawn Kemp didn't just face Michael Jordan. They ignited a force they couldn't contain. This wasn't just another finals. It was the storm before the calm. After the loss of his father, Jordan walked away from the game. The world wondered if he'd ever return. And then, in a single moment, he spoke. "I'm back." The basketball world trembled. Jordan wasn't coming for a ring. He was coming for closure.
Well, Michael was saying to the media a few days before the series started that he was going to come out and shoot the ball every time he touched it.
The Seattle SuperSonics were ready. Payton, the league's fiercest defender, and Kemp, the human highlight reel, weren't afraid of anyone. Not even Jordan. But they didn't understand. Jordan's return wasn't about rings. It was about a legacy. A legacy that wasn't just built on championships, but on honoring a memory. This wasn't just a finals. It was a fight for a legacy, and there was no room for failure. June 1996. Chicago is sweltering in the early summer heat. But it's not just the weather that thickens the air. It's the palpable anticipation that electrifies the atmosphere. The streets outside the United Center are a vibrant sea of red and black, teeming with fans chanting in unison, holding signs emblazoned with a single name, Jordan. Children perched on their father's shoulders wave makeshift banners, while older fans reminisce about the glory days, their eyes gleaming with hope and nostalgia. The excitement is infectious, a collective heartbeat that pulses through the city. Yet beneath the painted faces and roaring voices lies something quieter, something deeper stirring in the city's bones. There's a feeling that this game, this night, might be different. It might be sacred. Inside the arena, where history clings to the rafters and echoes from banners like whispers from another world, a solitary figure stretches near the bench. He's not smiling. He's not laughing. He doesn't need to. For Michael Jordan, this isn't merely entertainment. This isn't even competition. It's a reckoning. A circle that's taken 3 long years to close. Cameras point at him, commentators speculate, but none of them truly understand the truth. They don't grasp what this night costs him. Because Jordan isn't playing to win a title. He's playing to speak to a man who's no longer alive to hear him. And when you understand that, the stakes transcend mere sports. They transform into something ancient, something mythic, echoing through the ages. The city, with all its hopes and dreams, is holding its breath, waiting for a moment that will resonate far beyond the confines of the basketball court.
Well, I felt good that we really saw a challenge and we were faced with the challenge. I can say in every game, a different guy stepped up and gave us support, and I think that's what this team is all about. It's not a one individual type of team, and today it was my turn. Some of the guys couldn't get it going offensively, and I stepped it up a little bit, and everybody rallied around that.
Back in 1993, Michael Jordan was untouchable, undefeated in the finals. 3 straight championships. An MVP shelf sagging under its own weight. Commercials, endorsements, movies. He wasn't just the face of the NBA. He was the face of ambition itself. The Bulls had morphed into a dynasty, and the world expected them to dominate for years to come. But behind the curtain of greatness, something darker was emerging. Jordan wasn't just tired. He was hollow. The price of excellence had been paid in silence, scrutiny, and the slow erosion of joy. Then came the news that shattered everything.
We go this morning. We're going to return to ABC News in Washington and John Martin, who has an update on the death of James Jordan, who is the father of basketball star Michael Jordan.
James Jordan, Michael's father, was dead. Murdered. Shot while napping in his car. His body was discarded, like refuse. The man who had been at every game, every championship celebration, was gone. And with him, something inside Michael broke irrevocably.
It's time for me to move away from the game of basketball.
Jordan didn't simply retire. He vanished. Like a ghost, he slipped away from the limelight. One minute he was on top of the world, and the next, he was gone. He didn't chase headlines. He didn't do press. He walked away from everything people said he couldn't live without. Instead, he took up baseball, not out of boredom or restlessness, but because that was his father's dream. James Jordan had always loved the game of baseball, often sharing stories with Michael about the joys and struggles of the sport. So Michael picked up a bat, joined the minor leagues, and started from scratch. He rode buses through towns nobody could pronounce, often staying in cheap motels where the walls were thin and the beds uncomfortable. He ate gas station food, and he struck out more than he succeeded. But he kept going. Every swing, every sprint, every stretch of his glove was a silent tribute, a ritual honoring his father's memory. In those quiet moments, those spaces devoid of cameras and pressure, the fire began to flicker back to life. Not the fame, not the swagger, something deeper, something purer. Not the urge to dominate, but the need to honor. And that's when the whispers began. In practice gyms, in locker rooms, behind closed doors, he's coming back. Nobody believed it. Until one day, without warning, a fax landed on every sports desk in America. 2 simple words. I'm back. That was all he needed to say to reignite the hopes of a city and a fan base that had been waiting in the shadows. The announcement sent shockwaves through the sports world, reigniting the fire of anticipation among fans who had longed for his return. It was a moment that would forever change the narrative of his career and the fate of the Chicago Bulls.
And I'm glad that I had the thought to take time out and say thanks for giving me the incentive to come and play this game. And that was success for me.
Michael Jordan, comeback.
The following season wasn't a comeback. It was a campaign. The kind emperor's wage. Jordan returned to Chicago like a general entering a battlefield he once ruled. Only now he was sharper, colder, and forged by loss. The team around him had changed, but the mission remained the same. Scottie Pippen still ran the floor like a shadow. Phil Jackson still directed with calm detachment. But now, they had Dennis Rodman, a chaotic genius whose mind seemed barely tethered to the court, yet whose rebounding defied the laws of physics. The pieces shouldn't have fit, yet they did. And they didn't just win games, they ended them. A staggering 72-10 record, a number that felt like fiction. Jordan reclaimed the scoring title as if he had never left. They buried Miami and overpowered the Knicks in 5 brutal games, each victory a testament to their resilience and determination. And when they met the Magic, the team that had knocked Jordan out the year before, they didn't just beat them, they erased them. 4 games, a sweep. It wasn't mere revenge, it was closure, a cathartic release of pent-up emotion. By the time they reached the finals, the Bulls weren't just dominant, they were inevitable, a force of nature that seemed unstoppable. Each game was a statement, a declaration that they were back and ready to reclaim their throne. The chemistry on the court was palpable, and the energy in the arena was electric, as fans rallied behind their team, believing that this was their moment to shine. Across the country, the Seattle SuperSonics had been meticulously building a machine of their own. A fast, hard, fearless machine. Led by George Karl, they weren't interested in playing elegant basketball. They wanted to overwhelm, blitz, and break their opponents. Gary Payton was the heart of this operation, the glove. Not just a great defender, but a relentless one. He talked constantly, poked and clawed, and stared down his adversaries. He didn't just want to stop you, he wanted to bother you, belittle you. And alongside him, like a controlled explosion, stood Shawn Kemp, a man who seemed to play the game 3 feet above the rim. His dunks weren't just vicious, they were declarations of war, moments that could shift the momentum of a game in an instant. That season, Seattle won an impressive 64 games. They boasted the 2nd best defense and the 3rd fastest pace in the league, a combination that few could keep up with. They believed they could beat the Bulls, not out of arrogance, but because they had to. Because if Jordan was mortal now, Payton was the one who could prove it. The stage was set for a clash of titans, a battle that would be remembered for years to come. The anticipation was palpable, as fans and analysts alike speculated about the outcome of this monumental showdown. The Sonics had their own story to tell, one of resilience and determination, and they were ready to make their mark. Game 1 in Chicago opens like a gunshot, not in sound, but in shock. The Bulls hit first and hard, establishing their dominance early. Seattle comes in ready to rumble. Payton presses full court. Kemp explodes off pick and rolls, and the entire team crashes the paint like a tidal wave.
Shawn Kemp with the room. That was Monday, Memorial Day. And Kemp fires from deep.
But Jordan? He doesn't react. He doesn't even flinch. He's been here before. And what's more, he's endured worse than this.
Yes, several of Michael's teammates talked about the added pressure as Jordan comes up with the block.
Lack of execution by the Seattle SuperSonics. If they have 1 week.
So, he does what only Jordan can do. He slows the game down to the speed of his breath. Pull-up jumpers from 17 feet. Fadeaways with a hand in his face. A slip pass to Rodman under the basket. A backdoor lob to Pippen. It's not that he dominates physically, he simply dismantles them mentally, breaking their will one play at a time. The Bulls run away with the game in the second half. Jordan finishes with a calm efficiency that feels eerie. He doesn't flex. He doesn't shout. He just walks off the court as if it's an ordinary Tuesday, embodying the cool confidence that had become his trademark, leaving the Sonics to wonder how they could counter such a force. Game dose carries a different energy.
Seattle had missed a golden opportunity to steal one from the prohibitive favorites. Although for the most part, the Sonics seemed unfazed by their Game 1 loss. They believe they can play much better than they did in the opener. But here's something for Seattle to consider. So can he. Game 2 next.
Seattle has to respond. Payton ramps up the intensity. He presses harder, talks louder, shoves deeper. This isn't just defense, it's psychological warfare. And for a few moments, it works. Jordan misses, gets frustrated, and glares. But frustration, for him, is fuel. He recalibrates, drives hard to the elbow, stops on a dime, and drains the jumper. Then again, and again. With 29 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists later, the Bulls are up 2-0. It's not just the lead that stings Seattle. It's the realization that Jordan isn't merely hard to stop, he's impossible to unravel. The more pressure you apply, the clearer he becomes, like steel in a forge, hardened and unyielding. The Bulls' confidence grows with each victory, while the Sonics begin to feel the weight of the moment pressing down on them. The atmosphere shifts as the realization dawns on Seattle that they are up against a relentless force, one that thrives under pressure. Now it's Seattle's turn. Game 3 in Key Arena.
We welcome you back to the Key Arena in Seattle. And they are standing and cheering for the Seattle SuperSonics, who are 44-5 here at home, including the playoffs, and that also includes a victory over the Chicago Bulls last November.
The crowd is a volcano, a cacophony of noise and energy. The city hasn't roared this loudly since the 70s. This is their shot at redemption, at rewriting history. Yet, the moment Jordan walks onto the floor, something shifts. The air stiffens, the volume dims, the crowd screams, but there's an undercurrent of fear in their throats. Because he doesn't jog or warm up or look around, he just walks, slowly, across the hardwood, as if he already knows what's about to unfold. And what unfolds is this: 36 points, nearly all from the mid-range, the dead zone, the hardest place to score consistently. But Jordan isn't scoring because he's open. He's scoring because he's hunted. The more Seattle traps him, the more he seems to escape. The more they body him, the cleaner his footwork becomes. He floats, but not like before. Not like the elastic teenager of 1988. Now, he floats with gravity. Every shot lands like a brick in Seattle's chest. The Sonics fall behind early, rally late, but ultimately get buried in the fourth quarter. The sweep is within sight. And Jordan? He's still not talking, letting his performance do the speaking for him. His silence becomes a weapon, a reminder to the Sonics of the stakes at play. The tension in the arena is palpable, as fans on both sides hold their breath, witnessing history unfold before their eyes. Down 0-3, George Karl makes a move that many wonder why he didn't make earlier. He unleashes Gary Payton. Fully. No more strategic switching. No more hiding matchups. For the first time, Payton is glued to Jordan. And something shifts. The game slows. The pace alters. Jordan has to fight for every step. Payton gets up into his chest, jabbing at the ball, jabbing with his words, jabbing with his eyes, and it starts to work. Jordan misses. He forces shots. Seattle rallies behind him. Kemp dunks with more venom. Detlef Schrempf nails open threes. The defense forces turnovers. Seattle wins Game 4, loudly.
There'll be no sweep in these finals. So for at least one more game, the prize remains unclaimed, still one win away. The Bulls hope that when the smoke clears tonight, they'll be taking the goods back home to Chicago. Game 5 next.
Game 5 becomes a war. The Sonics dig in. Rodman gets frustrated. Pippen gets trapped. Jordan tries to isolate but finds walls at every turn. Payton is relentless, and there's no space, no rhythm. For the first time all series, Jordan looks human. The Sonics win again, holding the Bulls to just 78 points. Suddenly, it's 3-2. What once looked like a coronation now resembles a knife fight. People begin to ask, has Seattle cracked the code? Can Payton, the defender of the year, do what no one else has done, contain Michael Jordan? The narrative shifts, and doubt creeps into the minds of fans and analysts alike. The atmosphere is charged with tension as the possibility of a comeback looms large. The Sonics, fueled by their recent victories, feel a surge of confidence, believing they can turn the tide and rewrite the ending of this story. The 16th of June, 1996, Game 6. The day hangs heavy like fog over the arena, not just because it's do or die for Seattle, but because of the significance of the calendar. It's Father's Day. Everyone in the building knows it. Everyone watching on television knows it. But no one feels it more than Jordan. The last time he lifted a championship trophy, his father was there, smiling, clapping, whispering something in his ear. Now, all those memories echo through empty space. Jordan arrives at the arena early, headphones in, hoodie up, silent. The cameras zoom in, hoping for emotion. But there's nothing. All of it is being saved for the game. Seattle plays desperate, and it shows. The defense is chaotic. The rebounding fierce. Kemp still soars. Payton still presses. But this time, Jordan doesn't respond with scoring. He responds with command. He lets the trap come, then swings it out. He hits Kerr in the corner, finds Kukoc trailing, drops a perfect bounce pass to Longley. With 9 rebounds and 7 assists, the Bulls don't run away with the game. They grind it out. They bleed it out. And when the final buzzer sounds, the clock stops at Bulls 87, Sonics 75. Jordan doesn't jump. He doesn't shout. He walks off the court, head down, a man who has just borne the weight of the world. In that moment, he embodies the essence of a champion, not just for himself, but for his father, whose spirit looms large over the proceedings. The arena, once filled with noise and excitement, now falls into a hushed reverence as fans realize the significance of what they've just witnessed. And then the camera follows him into the locker room. He collapses. Not out of pain, not out of exhaustion, but out of release. He falls to the floor of the locker room, the game ball still in his hands, and breaks. The sobs are real, guttural, full body. Not like anything we'd seen from him before. He holds the ball like it's alive, like it's his father's hand. No one says anything. Not teammates, not staff, not media. They give him the only thing he's asked for in 3 years: silence. And in that silence, something shifts. This wasn't just a game. This wasn't even just a win. It was the final page in a story, interrupted by death. A son playing to ensure his father could still be proud, even from the other side.
You know, I can't even put it in words. My Father's Day, what it means to me. I know he's watching. To my wife, to my kids, to my mother, my brothers and sisters. This is for Daddy. I'm very happy for him.
The image of Jordan crying on the floor with the trophy beside him would go on to become one of the most iconic in sports history. Not because of the ring, but because of what it cost to earn it. It was a moment that transcended sports, a raw display of human emotion that resonated with anyone who had ever lost a loved one. In that locker room, surrounded by the echoes of victory, Jordan's tears spoke volumes about the sacrifices made for greatness. Years later, Gary Payton would reflect on it. He'd say he didn't bow down, that he played Jordan harder than anyone, that he got into his head, that he had him contained. And maybe, for a game or two, he did. But what Payton never saw, and what no defender ever could, was the weight Jordan was carrying throughout that series. He wasn't merely facing the Sonics. He was confronting grief itself. He wasn't trying to prove anything to the league. He was trying to speak to someone no longer living. That wasn't Jordan at his most athletic, that was Jordan at his most human. And that's why it mattered more. Because greatness that comes from talent alone is impressive. But greatness that emerges from loss, that becomes legend. It becomes a narrative that inspires generations, a testament to the strength of the human spirit. The story of Jordan's journey became more than just a basketball tale. It transformed into a powerful narrative about resilience, love, and the unbreakable bond between a father and son. That fourth championship did more than restart a dynasty. It transformed the nature of Jordan's mythology. He had always been the most talented, the most dominant, the most unstoppable. But after '96, he became something else entirely. Proof that pain doesn't have to paralyze, that grief can fuel you, that heartbreak doesn't have to end you, IT can shape you. He didn't just win the finals. He turned loss into legacy. His father wasn't in the crowd, but he was present in every dribble, every jump shot, every assist. And when he lifted that trophy, he wasn't just holding a championship. He was holding closure, a moment that encapsulated the essence of his journey. The legacy of that victory rippled through the world, inspiring not only basketball players, but anyone who faced adversity. They said he was too old, too rusty. They said Gary Payton would finally stop him, that Seattle had the formula, that the fire was gone. But they didn't understand what Jordan was playing for. They thought it was about winning. They were wrong. It was about remembering. It was about honoring. It was about finishing the story. And when you play for love, for legacy, for the memory of the man who gave you your first basketball, there's no glove tight enough to stop you, no defender quick enough to hold you, no scoreboard big enough to measure you. And that was the day Michael Jordan shut them all up, forever.
Point blank, I never seen nobody play like he plays, and you can include all of them.
That wasn't Michael Jordan out there. It was God disguised as Michael Jordan.
As the echoes of that night reverberate through history, the story of Michael Jordan transcends the confines of the basketball court. It becomes a narrative woven into the fabric of our collective memory, a reminder that the greatest triumphs often arise from the deepest sorrows. In the end, Jordan didn't just shut up the doubters. He immortalized the bond between a father and son, transforming personal grief into a universal message of resilience and hope. His legacy became a beacon for anyone facing their own battles, a testament to the power of perseverance and the enduring love between a parent and child. Jordan's journey reminds us that in the face of adversity, we can rise, we can triumph, and we can honor those we have lost by living fully and passionately. The day he shut them all up wasn't just about basketball. It was about the human experience, the struggle, and the indomitable spirit that lies within us all. As the years passed, the narrative around Michael Jordan evolved, becoming a tapestry of triumph and tragedy. Many would focus solely on his athletic prowess, his unparalleled skills on the court, and the records he shattered. But what often went unnoticed was the unseen battle he fought every day, a battle that extended beyond the hardwood. The pressure of being Michael Jordan, the most recognized athlete in the world, was immense. He was expected to be perfect, to win every game, to be the embodiment of success. This expectation weighed heavily on his shoulders, especially after the loss of his father. In interviews, Jordan would occasionally touch on the mental toll of his career. He spoke candidly about the anxiety that crept in during high-pressure moments, the fear of failure that loomed over him like a dark cloud. Yet, it was this very fear that fueled his determination. He learned to channel his emotions, transforming pain into power. Every time he stepped onto the court, he wasn't just playing for himself, he was playing for his father's memory, for the legacy they shared. Jordan's influence extended far beyond his individual accomplishments. He became a symbol of leadership, resilience, and determination for countless players who followed in his footsteps. Young athletes looked up to him not just for his skill, but for his work ethic, his competitive spirit, and his unwavering commitment to excellence. He taught them that greatness isn't merely about talent, it's about dedication, sacrifice, and an unyielding desire to improve. In the years following his retirement, Jordan continued to inspire the next generation of basketball players. Through his work with the Charlotte Hornets, he became a mentor to young talent, sharing his knowledge and experiences. He emphasized the importance of mental toughness, encouraging players to embrace challenges and learn from failures. His story became a guiding light for those navigating the complexities of professional sports, reminding them that setbacks are merely stepping stones toward success. As the years rolled on, the legend of Michael Jordan only grew. Documentaries, biographies, and countless articles chronicled his journey, each retelling adding layers to his already rich narrative. Fans continued to celebrate his achievements, while historians analyzed his impact on the game of basketball and beyond. The Last Dance, a documentary series that aired in 2020, reignited interest in his story, showcasing not only his incredible skill, but also the human side of his journey. The struggles, the sacrifices, and the triumphs. Jordan's legacy became a blueprint for success, not just in sports, but in life. He demonstrated that greatness is not a destination, but a continuous journey, one filled with challenges, heartbreaks, and victories. His story is one of resilience, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, we can rise again, stronger and more determined than ever. They said he was too old, too rusty. They said Gary Payton would finally stop him, that Seattle had the formula, that the fire was gone. But they didn't understand what Jordan was playing for. They thought it was about winning. They were wrong. It was about remembering. It was about honoring. It was about finishing the story. And when you play for love, for legacy, for the memory of the man who gave you your first basketball, there's no glove tight enough to stop you, no defender quick enough to hold you, no scoreboard big enough to measure you. And that was the day Michael Jordan shut them all up, forever. In the grand tapestry of sports history, Michael Jordan's narrative stands out as a powerful testament to the human spirit. His journey reminds us that greatness is not merely defined by victories and accolades, but by the ability to overcome adversity, to honor those we love, and to leave a lasting impact on the world around us. As we reflect on that fateful day in June 1996, we celebrate not just a championship, but the enduring legacy of a man who transformed loss into triumph, forever etching his name in the annals of history. The day he shut them all up became a defining moment, a powerful reminder that in the face of overwhelming odds, the heart can lead us to victory. That's the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked our content, please give us a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, NBA Legends, and enable notifications to stay updated with all our future content. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, take care and goodbye.